I'm not sure what that was, but that was a little crazy. Hey, what's up, friends, family, my homies out there in Bruges? You are now joined by one and only Rick O, the terrible. That's right. I recently discovered this game. Well, I can't say I recently discovered this game. I've been on the list since the game released, but I recently just decided to sit back and actually enjoy a little bit of the playthrough. Hold on, I gotta get my mouse back for some reason. The game is, there we go, acting a little wiry. Um, I've been impressed. I've been playing this. I think this is going on my maybe fourth game, and I've been wildly impressed by just everything, like how they make it work, what the size of the game is, versus other games that NetEase is involved in. And honestly, I can say that yes, I've been thoroughly impressed by everything that they've done and accomplished with this game. I don't have a lot of expectations for games like this. Most times, I'll find that they're lacking. You know what I'm saying? I need to move that painting. It don't look right there now since I put a window there. They'll be lacking something. And so far, in the amount of time that I've put in this game, which isn't, compared to others, it isn't very much because I've been focusing on building and, fixing stuff and keeping my house from getting destroyed. That honestly, like, it's insanely fun. And again, like, there's no complaints from me from the complaint department. I do need to rest, though, and shut that door so monsters don't come in, but, I doubt they'll come in anyways. So we'll sit here and rest for a little bit, get rid of that lunacy bar, so that way I can kind of start grinding out a little bit. But otherwise, like I said, I've been very satisfied with how the gameplay is presented. I like the storyline. I'm into kind of supernatural sci-fi games, so first-person shooters are a little hard for me. I'm colorblind, but because the graphics on this are not like stupidly intense, they help. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can see, like, where I can't see in a Battlefield or a Call of Duty because the camouflage is, maybe a little bit too digital, and it messes with my color blindness. I can see everything in this game, which is another turn on, because there's very few games out there that I can play comfortably. Like the older Call of Duty games, as long as they've not modernized the graphics and skinned them out and stuff like that, I can see, but it's just like, for some reason, greens are really my weak spot. I can see green, regular green, and I can see olive green and forest green and lime green and emerald green. But it's when you get to more of the matte color greens that I start to lose the ability to translate the shade contour and basically the color. And it's the same way with like pinks and purples too. Like they go gray at a certain point for me. And so it's not just that, it's also a mixture. If people mix the colors together, like in patterns and stuff like that, I can't see. It's very hard for me to see like pastel colors, like if somebody puts pastel on something like a pastel blue, that's a hard color for me to see with another color, like maybe an orange highlight around it would totally mess me up. So, and that's the thing, like, they're getting more better with colorblind modes and stuff like that for these games, but they require a little extra space on some of the games that I've run into. Like, you've had to download, a little extra space. And some of them, like Diablo 4 and I think, what was it, Borderlands, I believe, has a colorblind mode as well. But I really didn't need it for Borderlands because of the cell shading. The black and white shading prior to all of the color and textures being added made it easier for me to see that game, which is why, like, it was one of the games that I would legit, like, play, for a while too. But you go into a lot of other games and it's just really hard. Now, does it affect other video games for me? Yes, but not as bad as you would think. Like, you would think that real time strategies would be hard, but because most of real time strategies and strategy games consist with some, pretty constant viewable colors or palatable colors, I can see most of those. I don't think I've ever ran into an RTS or a strategy game that I was bothered with. Where I had to sit there and go, yeah, you know what I'm saying? This ain't working for me. But there are, a lot of ARPGs like Grim Dawn that I do have a little bit of a problem with. Now I play it, you know what I'm saying? Not religiously, but I do play it. But it's one of those games because it's just the color palette is so dark in that game, and there's a lot of just I said like colors I can't see. There gets some blending issues sometimes, and my eyes just go cross-eyed or they start hurting after a while playing certain games. And there are some that, like I said, that I just can't play at all. Battlefield 1 was the actual start of where I started noticing my issues with my vision. I was like, yeah, it's getting to the point that like the graphics are getting a little more intense, and it's just something with the shading of a color that I can't see blending in with another color that I can't see throws you off a little bit. And when people are hiding out here in like that digital camouflage, like in the foliage and stuff, I can't see it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like I can see, like I don't ever get upset at a player, you know what I'm saying, as much as I get upset at my own eyesight. That's just facts. But this game, you know what I'm saying, like it's got the proper colors. Right now what I'm doing is I'm just farming because I'm low on a lot of stuff. I'm low on copper ore. I'm low on charcoal, and I'm low on wood. You need wood to make charcoal, so. But so far, I've been on the game for 3 days. I had to do some deep research on how to stream this game, and I found out, and I'll share it with you guys. There are some administrative levels that some games take, and it hit me like once I figured it out that oh shit, like it's an admin privilege. So. Games like World of Warcraft, this game, some of the Diablo games, which require like a more secure connection, will oftentimes run as administrator. And in order for you to be able to view that, through a program like Streamlabs or OBS, you have to actually run the game as an administrator, or the Streamlabs or OBS as an administrator. Now, some people know this, but a lot of people don't, and that's where like it dawned on me, because every time I would open up this game, it would prompt me with an administrative prompt saying, "Hey, look, this is what's going on." You know what I'm saying? And so like I was like, all right, cool. Well, let me try to run it in admin mode. Like run OBS in admin mode. The other problem I had too is that for some reason, I downloaded Streamlabs because I used it before and I liked it. I felt that it was more user friendly, because I think OBS can do a lot of the same stuff, but there's a lot more mods for Streamlabs. So I figured I had to go run it again, and I couldn't get it connected to YouTube Live services. So I went right back to OBS, and I figured if I'm going to run, I'm going to run one for Facebook Live, and the other one is going to be run for me. You know what I'm saying? Like for YouTube. And OBS is going to be my dedicated YouTube. Because I'm sick and tired of like having to log in every time I make a change. It's like the stupidest shit ever. And I mean that in the nicest way, but it really is. It is the dumbest shit ever. Let me get some rocks too. Because I was having to, so I'd switch over to Facebook, and it requires you to log in. I'm like, all right, cool. So I switch over to YouTube, and it requires me to log in. So then I switch over to Twitch, and it requires me to log in. You know, and so I use all these services and I go between them. I never play the same show. I don't play reruns. I'm not that technically savvy. I don't back this up. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a live recording. It's already backed up on YouTube. If YouTube decides to cancel my stuff, then they cancel my stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to, you know, in the meanwhile, I'm not going to do anything or say anything that's going to ruin that relationship right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have a good relationship so far. And I seem to like YouTube a little bit better. I think a lot of it is because over time, I feel that more people view YouTube than they do Facebook Live videos. And so this will trickle down through the algorithm eventually, and it'll hit some people. And that's all I'm looking for. You know, like, people get into this to make a lot of money. I get into this because I'm inquisitive about it. I did audio broadcasts for radio for years. And, you know, that's the voice. And I think for me, once I, you know, like, learned about, you know, having social anxiety and not being able to cope with it in a, you know, more large social setting like I was used to doing, I had to make some adjustments. And there's still like a little bit, you know, there's still a lot of left, you know, creativity left in the gas tank. Okay, so there's, you know, let's not throw that out the window. But there is a lot of, like, I don't really like socially engaging with people too much. I'm outside home. This is all going into the furnaces, so I don't care. I don't like socially engaging with people too much. I think over the years of just having so many bad interactions online with fans and people in general, not even just fans, you know, fans of shows and fans of, you know, that would have different opinions. People will get a little extra sometimes, and I don't have the wherewithal to, you know, to sit there and want to deal with something like that. I'll literally, like, in frustration, just throw my hands up and say F it, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to stuff like that, and, you know, go elsewhere. Because, you know, to me, like, why am I going to sit there and argue with somebody, you know, on a consistent basis and give them power? You know what I'm saying? Like, if I recognize somebody in my chat room, you know, for being a cad, you know what I'm saying, like being catty or being, you know, a troll, then I've just put the ball in their court. And so, you know, I've always learned, and this is just something that my dad told me, and I'm guilty of it just as the next person, you know what I'm saying, because I do have bad social interactions sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. You view things differently, you know, as you want to change certain aspects of it. You know, I mean, it's part of growing, man. Like, what you know, I thrive on personal growth, and I think that it's perfectly okay for anybody who out there who wants to develop better, become a better person, to do so. You know what I'm saying? And in order to do that, you got to eliminate some of these stressful factors in your life. And, you know, for me, it was a lot of stressful factors. It was just, you know, I mean, I came out of a lot of different personal tragedies, and I'm not going to go into them, but I went through a lot of personal tragedies in my life, and they humbled me, changed a lot about me, made me think, you know, after the fact that, you know, life isn't short, it's actually kind of long. It's youth that's short. It's the ability to do the things that you had always done that, honestly, you won't be able to do much anymore once you hit a certain degree of maturity. It has really nothing to do with maturity. It just has to do with physicality. Like, I am 45. I'm banged up. You know what I'm saying? Like, my knees are shot. My back isn't in the best shape. My hips aren't in the best shape. My shoulders and elbows and wrists, fingers and all that stuff. Like that goes with you. You know what I'm saying? That goes. And for those that don't, you youngins out there don't understand how much damage you really do doing stupid stuff. Like I used to, look at my dad when my dad would be like, "Oh, you're gonna be like 50 years old," and two knee replacements and a hip replacement in. Looking back at me, going, "Man, my old man was right." You know what, man? My old man was right. My old man was 1,000% correct. He he hit the nail on the head. I I got to about 41, and then I started noticing my knees were knocking and cricking real bad. Um, and I'd already had knee surgery on my right one. That one wasn't doing it, but the good knee was starting to do it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, and I got warned by the doctor within about 15 to 20 years I was going to have the other one done anyways because it took the blunt of the weight. It did, like when you walk, there's supposed to be even distribution. That a lot of people there's not, and I had a leg injury, and so there wasn't there wasn't any equal distribution. The left took it all for a couple of years, and so it's worn out. And now I have arthritis, and I have people around me, good people around me that have endured the monstrosity that I'm living with. So they've got good advice for me and stuff like that. All this charcoal, man, I have to make all this charcoal. Look at that. That's just disgusting. All right. So you're gonna ask me what I'm doing. I am in the process of actually going to make some bronze ingots real quick, and then some copper ingots while we wait on our charcoal. Because I still have to brick up the house here. I had to go with brick because there wasn't a good feeling to say about the other shit. I had a bad feeling about the other stuff. I didn't like the wood. I opened up that stupid containment unit down here you can turn in the Stardust filter. You can turn these items in for extra stuff like goodies. I'm not sure. I'm new to the game, so don't shoot me in the face. And I got attacked, and the monsters pretty much ate the front of my house while I was under attack. So life told me that it was about time that I went to brick, since brick is stronger than wood. And I like the windows, but I'm probably going to have to replace them. I don't know if they're durable or as durable, but I went with some windows just to add a little extra light into the house, a little ambience. But I've got to do the upstairs, and then I've got to fix the roof because this is just a mess. Since, like I said, I got attacked. I've got openings here. They broke this off. It's just so. Yeah, that's a part of the game, apparently. No, I'm just kidding. It is part of the game, but it's a pain in the ass. And I built this part so, you know what I'm saying, like I can get away, and I think I made this a little too steep, but so that I can get away, or if in case I have to get away, I can, I can shoot the air units and then stay over here and attack the ground units. It's going to take them forever to get into the house and then get up here at me, and by the time they get to me, I've pretty much washed them. So that's kind of how I look at it. But what I've got to do is I got to take care of doing all of the brick upstairs, and that's why I was farming the gravel for the most part, was to do the brick. Because as soon as I can, I want to be able to. I'm going to hold this one down. It takes me a while. I'm still learning. I've got to go into the facilities, and I've got to build a couple of things. I've got to build a solar panel, and I got to do I believe it's not the intermittent yet, but there's another one that I got to build too. It's like an intermediate something or another. I may have already built it. But there's a few things that I've got to build, and this is more recent, but I believe it's this. I got to build one of those. I got to build the designer workstation because I've only got like one refined part, and I think it's because I killed like a big ass monster to get it. And then I've got to build this mofo, right? Or not rainwater. I've got to build the solar panel thingamahoozy, so that way I have solar panels. But it's been an interesting game to say the least. Like it takes a lot to throw me off my game a little, but especially like to surprise me. Here it is, and I need to find out what that is. I need three more fireproof plastic and 3 more refined parts, and I'll be able to buy the 15-watt solar generator, which will turn on the electricity, quote unquote, to the devices in my house. So, little things crawling around are my pets. Kind of like them. Yeah, because I got to turn the refinery on, and I can't turn the refinery on until I get more of the other stuff. And the new area that I'm supposed to be traveling to is supposed to supply that, but I wanted to get all of this done in my area so that there wasn't an issue. Because again, you never know. I'm fairly new to this game, and I kind of catch on to it. Let me fix this bottom here. Keep pushing the wrong button. So many other games, the select button. The select button will start. I just had to get it off the damn window because clocks physically can't. Hold on, I think there's a cat upstairs with me. It's upstairs. All right. Cats upstairs are duking it out. That's okay. I have nothing to do with that. I heard, so housemates have cats. I have a cat, and my cat don't get along with anybody, and that's her fault. You know what I'm saying? And the other cats are sweethearts, except for one who's a bit inquisitive, and so the inquisitive one tends to sneak down here with me, and want to cause a ruckus with my cat. So I was hearing growling, and it sounded like it was coming from outside of the door. But the upstairs bathroom is directly above me, and I could hear 2 cats growling at each other, like they were mad at each other. And I thought it was my cat, and I thought that one of the other cats got down here, and she was fixing to give them the what's for. I don't get onto the other cats, and the reason why I don't get onto the other cats is because this is their house too. You see what I'm saying? And so they're just going to have to learn to get along. And so I do let them down here from time to time, but it's not to cause a fight or anything like that. It's because they generally are inquisitive too. They don't get to, they don't get to come down here a whole lot because she's a pain in my ass. When it comes to being around other animals, she's a bully. You know what I'm saying? And she bullies other animals, like not just cats, dogs too. So I've always had her on a short leash when it comes around being other animals, and always keep an eye on her when when it's playtime with others. And there are some times that she gets along, and a lot of it's my fault because I never had her around any other animals except for dogs. And dogs are a bit, they're a bit pack animals, and so she became a pack animal. And now because she don't have her dogs anymore, you know what I'm saying? Like my dogs have, long since gone. She's pretty much the lone wolf, and so she treats it like that. And she really didn't have any interactions with any other cats in 8 years, other than until I moved here. You know what I'm saying? So these are the first cats that she's ever had an interaction with. And she has generally good ones for the most part. She's just standoffish, and she's skittish. And that's all part of, being a cat. Thinking that you're a dog or being raised around dogs, and, kind of taking in what they were doing, because that's what she did. She treated the dog, and they treated her like she was a smaller version of them, and she bullied them. You know what I'm saying? Like she was a dog. It was never, to me, it was a whole different ball game. But I did love the cat. You know what I'm saying? And I did love the dog. But my dog passed away 2 years ago. He was old, and so once that happened, it just become a kind of a proverbial nightmare for her, because she was so used to having somebody to cuddle with and somebody to be around, and it broke everybody's heart because they were best friends. Like he loved her. Like I honestly could never even imagine, like they slept in the same beds together. You know what I'm saying? Like when he'd be on one couch, she'd be on the other, and then she'd go over and cuddle next to him. I mean, she really loved that dog. And then when he disappeared shortly after that, I moved 2,500 miles. You know what I'm saying? And of course, I had to drag her with me, so she wasn't around the same people that she'd been around before, my friends, my family. You know what I'm saying? And so she just had a really rough year of cultural shocks, and so I'm just trying to take it easier on her and try to introduce her to some new friends, but she ain't having it. But the sound, and you guys could probably hear it if you go back in the video, because it's a low, bassy hum. The cats were in the bathroom, and the bathroom echoes a little bit upstairs, and so they were growling at each other. They were legit, you know what I'm saying, fixing to go at it. And so I thought it was my cat. So I had to make sure, because I will literally get in the way. I don't want to see either, none of them get hurt. They're all good. All good animals. But, the ones upstairs, there's like a few of them upstairs, I think like 6 or 7. It's a good sized place. So I'm just downstairs. I'm the downstairs roomie, housemate. I have good people with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I moved up here. I had lost everything. Some good people took me in and gave me a home. You know what I'm saying? Made me feel welcome, have helped me out, helped me get back on my feet, let me heal up, have had understanding. A lot of people never have taken a risk on that or wanted something different out of it, and all they ask is just, I help out where I can. And I've had such a rough week. I had a rough weekend at work, man. Not that it was a bad weekend. I love work. You know what I'm saying? What I don't love is getting my ass handed to me at work physically. I hate it. And I'll tell you why. A lot of it is just because I'm not young anymore, and because the fact that I have arthritis in my knees, I have to work. Um, I want to say about 1.5 times harder than somebody who doesn't, because my mobility goes from near perfect to it degrades within hours. And what you don't understand about arthritis is that it's not something that's like consistent with you. I mean, it's always there, you know what I'm saying? But you're gonna have like really bad flare ups, and then you're gonna have good days, but you're always going to live in a form of numbing pain, and the numbing pain